Good afternoon. This is Mayor Vilensky with Driving Markets Weekend Report. So this week we've got some economic numbers, but the biggest event is geopolitical, with Israel striking at the Iranian nuclear program. We'll come back onto that in a second. So the week started off with the Chinese balance of trade. Well, actually, balance of trade was quite positive as far as China was concerned. Just adjust my microphone, make sure you can hear me. So the balance of trade came out at $103 billion, which was over and above the expectation of $100 billion. Good news as far as China is concerned. Remember, China is the number 2 economy, so it is essential and important that you follow what is going on with China, simply because being the number 2 economy will have overall impact on financial markets. Another number came out of China was the year-on-year exports came in at 4.8%, expected to come in at 4%. Again, year-on-year, that's pretty good number, showing exports are rising as far as China is concerned. Something to look at, and a positive input number from China, or output number, again showing the number 2 global economy that's weathering the storm overall of trade war, tariffs as far as Trump is concerned, and that is a good sign that it is sturdy, strong, because you do need a strong China. You can't have a weak China, considering the amount of economic activity they bring to the global economic table. It's essential that China remains strong, whether you're politically on the left or political on the right, or don't trust them. They are a player and they need to be paid attention to. The other thing that we'll look at is the UK. UK had rising unemployment, and the UK is in a very difficult position. Quite simple, is that Rachel Reeves, who is the Chancellor, is spending too much money, but has now woken up and said, oh, we need to make some cutbacks, we need to remove the migrants from the hotels and maybe close the borders. Keir Starmer, the Prime Minister of the UK, probably the number 1 weakest global prime minister, but we won't get onto that one as we discuss economic numbers. So UK's got rising unemployment, and that will impact the property market. So you could see properties in the UK fall between 15 and 20% over the next 18 months as interest rates remain high, and Andrew Bailey of the Bank of England is likely to reduce interest rates, but they still have rock solid inflation there. The other thing that came out of the UK then, the number came out of the UK this week, was GDP. So GDP, gross domestic product, month on month came out minus 0.33%, a minus number, showing a further slowdown in the UK economy. Interestingly enough, didn't affect the pound dollar, because a weaker dollar, due to overall activity in the US, we'll go to that in a second, has made the pound creep up. So it's not that the pound is strong, it's that the dollar is weak, has made that particular pair move up. What else do we have? We also had PPI and CPI out in the US. So CPI is Consumer Price Index, that is retail price inflation, came in slightly lower than expected. So it's showed a downturn or downtrending, downwind as far as inflation is concerned. Yet the Fed and Jerome Powell are unwilling to reduce interest rates. There'll be no interest rate cut in June, unlikely in July, maybe in September, 37% chance in September. But again, the pundits are out there and they're not too sure which direction Jerome Powell is going to go. He can see significant downturn in the economy with rising unemployment, but he's unwilling to cut interest rates. Why is that? Question that we need to ponder, and I don't have a specific answer for, because I don't sit on the Fed. But the likelihood is he's concerned very much about inflation numbers. And on Friday, we've got University of Michigan Consumer Sentiment Report, and that report comes out specifically, which is another measure of sentiment in the US. That'll be one to watch also. Now, let's go on to the geopolitics. Geopolitics, Israel strikes Iran on Thursday, the 12th of June. So you've got looking to take out the Iranian nuclear program. There were rumors that Iran would get a nuclear bomb within 3 days. There's rumors that it's got 10 nuclear bombs, but Israel took out the air defense system again, and also managed to take out the top 4 generals, including the head of the Iranian Revolutionary General Command, the IRGC, and he managed to strike there with a precision strike into his bedroom in his apartment block. Interesting, that one. So the 4 top generals have been wiped out. Now, how is Iran going to react? How is Iran going to respond? Well, they're likely to strike and plan a major attack on Israel, center Jerusalem, Tel Aviv, looking to cause serious damage. They're not going to take this lying down, having their nuclear sites attacked by Israel. But this was on the cards, and I did state clearly over the last few months on TikTok, on Instagram, on YouTube, on X, that this is likely to happen, has happened. What is the consequences? What's the effect of it? Quite simple, a rise in gold, go to safe haven, but we've been pushing gold non-stop, and oil spiked 8%. Now, where could this go to? Well, Iran's aligned, or the Houthis, the terrorist group, are aligned with Iran, and they could fire on the western-leaning Saudi Arabian oil fields. That would cause oil to spike even further. That's one scenario that could play out, or they could just close the waterways of the Bab el-Mandeb waterway and the Red Sea and the Straits of Hormuz, and that would send oil up also to about $100 a barrel, again causing inflation to tick up. It would be a major headache for the Western central bankers like Jerome Powell to actually monitor this and get inflation back down again. Trump is in support of Israel, and I don't think the US is going to get involved. If they were to get involved, then you would see significant push-up as far as gold is concerned and as far as oil is concerned. That's more or less it. There's a lot more to tell you about. I don't want to bore you to tears. This is Meir Wilensky with Driving Markets Weekend Report. Catch you later.